All right, the recording is started. So, Morgan, you said that you're asking like what's the string-based thing. So pretty much, the string-based thing is any weapon I consider is like the whole purpose of it is to like really, really capitalize on a dodge punish or something like that. And pretty much any weapon that has that purpose is like really, really, really good right now, probably with the exception of spear to some extent. So really, like, I'll toss the weapons I think that are in here right now. So I still think I kind of agree with everyone else, and maybe that opinion is changing, but I think gauntlets right now are the easiest out of all of these to learn. Like pretty much gauntlets, like comparing them to guitars, scythe, orb, and cannon. Now gauntlets is really the only one I can say is like I think this is the best weapon in the game just because how rewarding it is. It has the true combos, it has the damage, it has the crazy dodge punishes, it has all that. So yeah, and like I don't know, it's the one I can speak the most for, especially since I've played it the most. The off stage is super easy as well. Yeah, Q. After that, it's a bit harder. Pretty much I feel like all these, if I'm really, really ordering them, I think it pretty much in this category, since I think all these weapons are better than, or I don't want to say better, I guess right now are a bit better than any of these. Guitars I think are the next easiest probably. So that's pretty much how it's gonna go in this category, is like which is easiest to use and which is the hardest to use. So then like guitars, pretty much guitars right now, a lot of people are using them because they're a counter to gauntlets, which makes them really, really potent. And also guitar delight's just absolutely ridiculous, so that's a thing. Scythe, even though Scythe has been out for a really, really, really long time, it's still like the amount you can do with it I think is still ridiculous, and not in a bad way necessarily. Like the person that's playing it is winning tournaments and whatnot. The active input is a big thing with it, Morgan. That is huge. And then I feel like it gets weird with like orb and cannon. These two I'm not too sure about, but I still think they're better than all these because like there's so much matchup in, so little people play them, but when they get pulled out, they're crazy as far as what they can do. I mean, cannon has more force on its air than hammer does, which I think is kind of insane for what else the kit has. Both of these weapons have true combos. Again, they have the strength potential. I think right now maybe it's hard to say, just because sometimes I think they look a little better than what they are, because like frankly no one has the experience against these weapons, and when they do get pulled out, they get pulled out by like Sandstorm. I mean, he's won tournaments with Fate and Zol, so after that, okay, I'll probably order these in a minute, but first let's just toss what I think is in there. I'll just be upfront. I think Lance is just badly designed, and I think it's the worst weapon in the game right now. With that being said, it's the only weapon in B tier, but I'm just putting it down here because I hate it, and I think it's just really lacking compared to pretty much every other kit in the game. Like, yeah, the design to me is just very, very bad, and off stage it's awful, so that doesn't help it at all. But pretty much every other weapon is in this, like, I guess A would be its tier. Now, as far as ranking these ones go, we have the string weapons, which are a class of their own. And also, like, you could make the argument that weapons like blasters and bow both have that sort of string potential, as well as they do have the true combos. But I just feel like, I don't know, I've thought about, like, when I initially was thinking about this, I was thinking about, like, what I would do with blasters and bow, like, oh, are they up here? But I just feel like these 5 weapons right now are on a different, they're on a different level just because of what they can do off of punish. With that being said, though, blasters are a great counter to orb and cannon. So I think out of all these weapons, they're definitely the next best. And with that being said, though, after that, you have bow. Bow has true combos and also has pretty meaty dodge punishes as well. Yeah, blasters are just a lot harder compared to, like, I guess here's a good comparison. Like, you can get a falling stare into D-light, into side light, into chase dodge up, nair with blasters, right, as a punish. But with that being said, you can also get like a 5-hit combo off of one dodge. So with gauntlets, so it's like, I mean, it's just an easier version of blasters in reality and more damage. So yeah. Then next, yeah, bow, like I said, the punishes are pretty good. Then after that, here's where it gets kind of weird for me. I think both hammer and axe, they aren't awful, but I think sword, even though it can't kill, I think sword's really underrated. I don't want to say really underrated. I feel like the people that underrate it the most are the ones who, that's all they play. But I think then spear would have to come after that. Spear in ones is a little iffy sometimes, but it can, you know, you can hit on some stages like triple D-light into Sarah, although that is like situational. If you know how to do it, you have stuff like that. Even then, if you hit a side light, they dodge down. You have a side light into double D-light Sarah, which is pretty good damage and it's pretty easy. And although sword doesn't have that, sword's pretty good when it doesn't like drop. I think if sword didn't drop and if they buffed its kill power in any way, I think sword might be at the top of this, but until that happens, it's definitely like in the middle of the pack, kind of with spear. And then at the lower end, like I already said, like I think axe is better than hammer. Now high dex hammer is kind of an exception because I feel like you can do some pretty good things with hammer at high dex. Axe, I just think because I consider it kind of like a counter to hammer, and knowing what you can do with axe off of like sidelight nair, if you gave it anything else, I think it'd definitely be bumped up a little bit. But yeah, pretty much all these weapons are like, most weapons lie in the middle of the pack, but I think you can almost group them by twos. Like at the top of like an A tier, or however you want to say it, you have blasters and bow, and then in the middle you have sword and spear, and then at the lower end you have axe and hammer. And Q, I saw you said that this stuff is pretty close, like why isn't it more spread out? That's because I think that the weapons aren't really that far off from each other. I think right now really the only like the differentiating factor in everything is that anything that's primarily meant to like I said, like hence call it string based, like why do these string, even if you took away the true combos of gauntlets like D-light dare, D-light sidelight, or nair dare, if it's still got, once you catch the dodge, you're still getting tons of damage. So the fact that weapons that have like high string potential are also being granted like that true combo ability is a bit crazy. Now I guess Scythe would still be the exception, but yeah. So yeah, then you get to Lance again. It's just really, really bad overall as far as design goes. And I think I put it down here, not necessarily because I don't think it can beat anything. Honestly, any of these weapons. Like, I think anything can beat anything. It's really just based on how hard it punishes and how easy it is to hit. So Lance, though, compared to everything else, I think Lance lacks off stage the most, so that's really what sets it down. And again, I just hate the weapon. So yeah, that was a quick little weapon tier list before the upcoming patch. I'm probably going to do another one once the patch rolls out, so I'm curious to see how this will change, if I'll decide I want to spread the stuff out more or if I want to keep the same. But yeah, this is definitely what his presentation might look like. That looks awful. Yeah, this is definitely how my tier list is looking right now. I think I think any weapon can be any weapon. I think it goes a little beyond that. Obviously, you have the ability of the player always playing a factor, as well as what legend they're playing. So yeah,